Greetings, Sworn Nation and fiends across the multiverse. It's your boy, Brian Pulido, proud publisher of Coffin Comics. Today is a very special day for several reasons. First up, we have La Muerta, Lady Death Inferno. This is the official preview for our Kickstarter launching in 2 weeks, people. But 2 hours from now, 2 hours, Art of Play launches the first ever Lady Death video game, Demonicron. Please get ready to back that campaign tonight. There's a lot of exciting rewards, many of a limited nature. If you haven't, sign up to be notified and start your Kickstarter account now. Do not delay. However, today, we are here this moment to talk about Inferno. So, Inferno is the next chapter in Hellageddon. I wanted to start out by showing you some of the pages from this story by Alison Rodriguez and colored by the one and only. And then you will see the beautiful pages. Alison was the artist on Chaotica. The color is by Giuseppe P. This is an actual double-page spread from the book. This story continues the story we began in Demonic Omens. There's some nefarious demonic goings-on in this story. So as you can see, the interiors are made with the same love and care that all Coffin Comics are made with. So I hope you will enjoy them. And this thing is pretty close to ready to print. Now, shall we get into the rewards that we have to offer? Let's do that, shall we? First up is the Premier Edition cover by Diego Bernard. Here are the specs. This book features 56 pages of story and art. That's 8 pages more than we normally offer. And if we unlock certain free bonus items, we're going to feature a foil cover enhancement. The interior book is written by myself, Mike McLean, illustrated by Alison Rodriguez, colored by Giuseppe P., lettered by Marshall Dillon, the same man who has lettered all of our books. This is the 41st chapter. Next up, check out this cool next edition. What? The Citadel edition. This is by Mike Chrome, colored by Ivan Nunez. And feel free to ask questions if you like. I'm all about it. Next edition. Holy mackerel, Monty Moore brings the heat. I believe this one's called Armed, the Armed edition. Don't get it twisted. Lady Death and La Muerta completely face off. When Mike and I were writing it, well, that was one thing. We started getting the pages in, and I'm like, dang, you're going to like this fight. Holy mackerel. And then here is a mock-up of the hardcover, art by Matt Meerhoff. Please notice Lady Death's sickle at Maria's throat and her Walther PPQ right on Lady Death's chest. This is going to be a fight for the ages. And look, you might say to yourself, well, street level Avenger versus Lady Death, how could that be possible? You have to read this story because it's very serious business. So check out the beautiful Sora Song Juan Carlos edition. This one is our jeweled. And let me just double check something here for you. Oh man, this is great. Yes, and this is colored by Juan Fernandez. It's one of my favorites. They look like they're cooperating for a moment. Next up, holy mackerel, this one's called Naughty and Torn, and this is by Mike DiBalfo. Next up, holy mackerel, Kendrick Lim brings the heat on our Megafoil edition. This edition is going to feature all these cool skulls and beautiful scarlet. And Kendrick Lim, man, he don't play. Next up, here is our holofoil edition. This is by Anthony Spey. You're going to notice La Muerta's holding Lady Death's sword, and Lady Death's actually shooting a machine gun. Is this blasphemy? Is there nothing Pulido won't do? Is nothing sacred? I think you got to read the story to kind of like wrap your mind around it. Next up, whoa. Okay, Dawn McTague. Heavy Metal Edition by Dawn McTague. Beautiful, incredible image. Dawn is a one-of-a-kind designer. Absolutely amazing. If you take a look at the background, actually, it's barrels of guns. It's not a church organ, people. It's gunnerific. Next up, as a separate reward, Dan Mendoza brings the heat in this battle image that we like to call, what am I calling this one? The Versus Edition. This is Versus, and then Versus Naughty and Torn. This rounds out some of the basic editions, but that's not all, everybody. You know, as we get into our upper tiers, we like to do things like chase covers, etc. So why don't I show you some of those? And again, feel free to ask some questions about the campaign. But next up is the aforementioned chase. This will be associated with our first collector's tier. You'll notice all the different colors. This is by Eric Henson, and these are colored exquisitely by Sanju Nivanjun. As we are known to do, we're actually going to offer one Omega edition of each that some lucky backer will receive. Eric Henson, local Phoenix artist, absolutely amazing, talented man, hard at work on some other cool ones for Coffin Comics, including a beautiful Furiosa homage for Phoenix Fan Fusion. What do we have here? Let me look. Oh boy. Oh no. Okay, so now we're starting to get into the upper tiers. If you're to get the first collector's set, you actually get all the aforementioned comic books and then one of these chase. And one of the exclusives to this tier is the Puppeteer Lee edition that we call, it's the Shadow Dragon edition. This is the first Puppeteer Lee cover for Coffin Comics. This is no doubt a gorgeous painting. Part of the other upper tiers here is, holy mackerel, this is the Metallic Jewel edition. So I want to point this out. Let's go back to the metal edition and look at the design quality of what Dawn has done. The heavy metal edition features Lady Death, La Muerta. The treatments are completely different. The design work on that one is just stellar. Absolutely incredible. Rounding out this high roller-like tier is the Naughty Citadel edition by Mike Chrome, colored by Ivan Nunez. Check this Hellified edition by Kendrick Lim. And again, let's go back and do a compare. We're going to go back to the Jeweled edition and just look at these. The differences, the investment the artist makes in making the editions completely distinct. So you'll notice we call these characters hellified, and that denotes that they're potentially demonically possessed in our storyline. So it's possible that our quote-unquote heroes, they become possessed in the story. When and where, you're going to have to read it. And rounding out the high roller-like tier is another beautiful variation on the theme called Fallen. This is by Sorasong, Juan Castro, and Juan Fernandez. And again, let's go back and compare. You might think, oh my gosh, they're very similar, but indeed they are not. Look at the differences in the attitude of Lady Death. Lady Death now is wielding a gun and has the calavera makeup commonly associated with La Muerta. What is going on? What are we trying to say? What are we trying to signal? You're going to have to read it to find out. Next up, okay, here we go, everybody. So I'm going to show you our Ultimate Legend tier. We're playing it differently this time. Here you go. Metal Legend by Frank Cho, right out of the gate. Frank Cho, everybody. And then Holofoil Legend, Frank Cho. Rounding out the Legend tier is the Luxury Foil. Completely different treatments, all serial numbered, all limited. And here is our Ultimate by Mike Diodato. Trade dress, luxury foil, and virgin art. So this will be the Ultimate Legend. I like to look at some of them together. So for example, I like that we've been doing what I call the luxury foil, really highlighting the image with this beautiful silver foil frame. I think the Cho looks really remarkable. And holy mackerel. All right, what do we got next? Oh, okay, here we go. Now we're getting into the Mega VIP tier. The Mega VIP tier. And take a look at what we call the handcrafted editions. This tier is limited to 15, each one individually hand-colored by Coffin Comics' own in-house superstar, Anya Bean. Phenomenal. So again, limited to 15, no two alike. Mega VIP, the Boom, the Inferno, then the Frank Cho Black Metal, strictly limited to 15 copies on Earth. Rounding out this tier, the Ultimate Metal Edition. The only way these things are going to be available. Ridiculous enhancements. Now, next up, if you're ready for it, is, I think it's called the Ultra Mega VIP. But to show you these things, we literally have to charge them up. We must expose them to the light. Let there be light so you can feast your eyes on the shenanigans. Now, this tier is limited to 10 copies serial numbered worldwide across the globe, including Antarctica. All continents involved. So without further ado, may I present to you the Puppeteer Lee Glow in the Dark, McTay Glow in the Dark, and Cho Glow in the Dark metal. These are metal editions. You could begin to see them. And they are metal, and they are limited to 10. They are limited to 10, only 8 available on the campaign. House lights, Jimmy Coffin. And that is a peek at those. That rounds out some of our comic book related tiers, but I imagine there's some people who like prints, and I know that I am one of them. So let's take a look at some of our print offerings. Here is the commemorative edition. That'll be limited in nature and serial numbered. And then we have our Naughty and Torn by Mike DiBalfo. Our main commemorative is by Diego Bernard. Then we have the Frank Cho Legend print available to all. And then we have the Puppeteer Lee print standing on its own because it should. And then we have the Ultimate print by Mike Deodato. So happy to have the maestro back with us. We also love to do fine art prints. So here is our fine art print for this campaign. This is called Death Stalker. Death Stalker. Death Stalker by Frank Cho. This is colored by Sabine Rich. Additionally, we have some print sets for you. The first up is our Prestige set featuring art by Anthony Spey, Sorasong Juan Castro, Juan Fernandez, Mike Crome, Dawn McTague, Monty Moore, and Kendrick Lim. Additionally, we have a set we call Naughty and Torn, featuring art, six print set featuring Mike Crome art, Kendrick Lim, Adriana Mello, Richard Ortiz, Elias Chatzudis, and Dawn McTague. Some beautiful prints, everybody. Now, did I hear somebody say mystery envelope out there? Well, it's true. Coffin Comics loves to do mystery envelopes, and this time is no different. What is different is the sheer scarcity of what we're going to offer. So, mystery envelope. We're going to offer you several publisher file copy editions, 2 artist proofs, a couple from our vault, BP, and an Omega edition. Then, here we go. Dawn McTague Pearl, limited to 45. Frank Cho Pearl, limited to 50. Now, please take a look at this image. This is how Frank sent the work in. And you can see that he probably used a simple pen to do the cross-hatching on the cape, the beautiful red that he sent in. This was pretty reasonable reproduction of what Frank sent in. Only 50 of those. What's Pulido thinking? You have a chance if you get a mystery envelope. And then we have the other Dawn Pearl. I had to do these. You can't blame me. Look at the line work, the heart, the soul, the passion that goes into this work. Moving on, we have Sia beautiful Sia limited to 50. Marissa Pope. Check out the cool Marissa Pope. In Nice and Naughty. Marissa is doing a great job. Check out this cool image by Monty Moore. Here's a cool Stephen Butler Lady Death. You notice we're combining the characters. Here is a Lady Satanas set by Richard Ortiz. And you might say to yourself, why Lady Satanas? Because Lady Satanas is one of the co-stars of our story. And then here's Matt Meerhoff doing a fiery set of La Muerta. Looks like she's completely on fire. And then Matt Meerhoff doing the Naughty version of his hardcover image. Naughty and Torn, we call those. And then Isaac Bell and Alexa Lowe. This one will be limited to 50 only. Very happy to have their contributions. Phenomenal work. Next up, holy mackerel, Monty Moore again. And he's doing 3 different colorways on this set that we call the Emerald Lounge, the Violet Lounge, and the Scarlet Lounge. What I like about this for Monty Moore fans is that's a good amount of area for a remark. Next up, Giancarlo B. doing his beautiful occult series called Odyssey and the Naughty version. These are a beautiful set, limited to 50 each. And then rounding it out, we have Richard Ortiz. And Richard Ortiz Naughty in this battle image of the 2 characters. Facing off, behind them is this fiery city. And then what is this one? Let's see. This is the angry artist, William Russell, doing his Lady Death edition. And I think we're calling that the William Russell edition.
David has a question.
We have a question.
They want to know, will there be any collector boxes available during the Kickstarter?
So Dave's asking, are there going to be any collector boxes available during the Kickstarter? Candidly, we have not planned for that at this moment. If that's something that you guys and gals out there really want, please let us know so we can address it. But up until now, we haven't. So by popular demand, people have been asking for a challenge coin. So without further ado, we're finally doing it. It's a La Muerta challenge coin featuring one of the original images, Bandita, by Richard Ortiz. These are silver-plated brass, red color inlay, 3D sculpted elements, and limited to 666 coins. Next up, we have the apparel for this campaign. Paying homage to the 30th anniversary, here is the Lady Death, the Reckoning t-shirt. The Reckoning t-shirt. Rounding out what we're going to show you today in our campaign is this beautiful Hellified duo poster by Kendrick Lim. Feel free to get right in there and look at all the eerie details that Kendrick puts in the work. Folks, I'm happy to answer any other questions you may have. But I will say this. La Muerta Lady Death Inferno launches in 2 weeks on May 8th at 6 p.m. Arizona time. Check your local time zone. We cordially invite you to back this campaign, and please, if you have watched this video, you are now officially our ambassador. Please spread the word of Coffin Comics and what we're up to. And in 90 minutes, thereabouts or less, we are launching Lady Death Demonicron, the first ever Lady Death console video game. This is a 90s era beat-em-up side scroller. Sign up to Kickstarter now. You guys have been great. I've been Brian Pulido. See you in about 90 minutes.